There's so much to unpack here that I'm not entirely sure where to start. For most of my life, I've lived in a small, bodunk town in Mississippi where the population is 3 figures and the Industrial Revolution is a myth to most of it. In the interest of staying as anonymous as possible, I'll refer to this little patch of some blasted bullshit as ass. Nowhere. Here, people mostly keep to themselves. I'm not the kind of guy to spy on my neighbours, and I'm sure as fuck not the kind of guy to waste his time worrying about other people's business. But then, there's the Barkers. There's only 2 of them left. There's Marble, mothery type, supporting herself and her brother on a nurse's salary. I've only spoken with her a handful of times, mostly at church, but I can't count the number of times I've driven by their property and seen her watering, hoeing, planting seeds, trying to coax the old farm back to life, to no avail. And then there's her brother, Barney. Long story short, the kid's a little shit. My sister, she's 14, but a year older than him, has told me more stories about his fuckery than I care to impart. He's the kind of kid who shits in the urinal and plucks money from the church offering plate. Snot-nosed, scraped-knees type. I always figured he'd graduate from his low-level bullshit and get arrested for robbing a liquor store or antagonizing a racial minority. But not this. Nothing like this. Seriously, fuck this shit. Okay, these things start out as rumours. A scrape becomes a gash, becomes a compound fracture. These things escalate every time a person spits it out of their mouth, so I can only assume that holds true here. It started with a rash. I first noticed it during Sunday morning service as I watched the Barker kid pick at a long stretch of red irritation running along his arm. I remember Marble shoving him, telling him to cut it out and that he was only making it worse. Barney being Barney, he picked at the fucking thing until his arm was bleeding. So Marble shuffled him off to the bathroom, her face red and her nerves clearly being tested. No big deal, right? Just a scrape. And then, about a week later, I'm not sure, my family's eating dinner and suddenly my sister's going on about, the Barker kid has a bandage around his arm at school today. She even said she could see brownish blood seeping through the white rags. Of course, Barney fucking Barker fucked up his arm. He was probably dicking around with a chainsaw or something. Who cares? Big fucking deal. Yet, somehow we've arrived at a gash. And to tell the truth, I didn't really think anything about it. The less thought I wasted on Barney Barker, the better. A few weeks later, I'm driving past the Barker property and see a metric fuckton of police cars parked in front of the house. There's Marble, standing amidst a swarm of cops and bloodstained jeans and a t-shirt. It was only for a second, and I was a good 30 yards away, but I swear I could see something like horror in her eyes. She was shaking, pale as milk. I kept on driving, secure in the knowledge that none of this was my business. But a few miles away from my house, something, I thought it was an animal at first, wandered into the street. I brought my car to a screeching halt and prepared every obscenity I knew for a prompt and glorious lift-off. But then, I fell silent. Barney Barker was walking across the road, his eyes glazed over like someone in a dream. The bandages around his arms had fallen away, leaving a black, raw chunk of meat behind it, almost skeletal, like it had been burned off. Dribbles of blood ran down his mouth and stained his clothes. He didn't even look at me as he crossed the road and disappeared into the fields. Obviously, I called the police as soon as I was done cleaning the shit off my pants. Truth be told, I don't know what went on between then and the night we scoured the fields. All I know is that my dad got a call late one Thursday evening, a few days after the cattle incident, and that he promptly yanked me out of my bed. "Someone's taken the Barker kid," he told me. Obviously, a person has to be missing for 24 hours before anything is done on an official level. But small towns are different. People rally. Add in the satanic panic that had taken root after the cattle incident. It's safe to say that people freaked. So the call, such as it was, went out and a makeshift search party was formed. A good 50 or so able-bodied men, plus me, for some fucking reason, ended up coming through town like bleach trying to coax out a stain. I didn't see Marble that night. I assumed, I guess I still do, that she was at the police station giving what testimony she could. This is probably evident, but I think it bears articulating. This is a grasshopper's view of some Class X voodoo, and I won't pretend to know the whole story of what went down that month. Here's what I know. Me, my dad, and a handful of people from church, along with a couple of teachers I knew, ended up tackling the Barker property. The way we saw it, we were just as likely to find Barney Barker jerking off under a tree somewhere, as we were at the bottom of a ditch. Remember, this was the middle of the night, so imagine sifting through rows and rows of long dead corn with nothing to go on but a thin beam of light and a handful of stars. It wasn't exactly professional. If you've been wondering, this is where it comes in. The compound fucking fracture. At first, I thought it was Marble's attempt to plant some fresh seed. A rough little hole, about the size of a gorilla's fist. There was nothing deliberate about it. Then a few feet later, we found another, and another. Indentions. Spaced apart consistently, but not mathematically. Almost like tracks. Around them were strips of what looked like burnt leather, scattered in tattered shreds around the holds. No one knew what they were. To this day, no one who was there had the faintest idea what we were looking at. Needless to say, we never found the Barker boy. As of this writing, he's still listed as missing. Marble moved away, sold off the family property and got the hell out of Dodge, while the getting was good. Heard from a guy at school that she was engaged to an electrical engineer in Indiana, but that's just hearsay. Either way, I hope she finds something like peace. I hope, in time, that I find some too. But here's the kicker. Until I die, I will remember those strips we found in the field. That was the worst of it, I think. I remember looking at them, and I mean really looking. Nausea curdling in my gut. Something animal and ancient stirred inside me. Some kind of primal fear I'd never so much as felt before. I never told anyone my theory, because it sounds even crazier when you say it out loud than when you write it down. And honestly, because I don't think it would matter if I did. Again, I don't know, but here's what I think for what it's worth. I think whatever happened to Barney's arm happened to the rest of him. Something took root and spread. And I think those raggedy strips in the field were the pieces of the thing that used to be Barney. And I think those holes were the footprints of whatever came next. I think the universe stretched out so far we can't imagine it. And I think everything we know is just a thin layer of shit congealed atop an ocean that stretches out forever, goes down even further. Hey guys, I'm back. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone for their support over the past 2 weeks. I finally got my voice back and I'm recording new material. As you might have noticed, I'm using a new mic, which I'm still not 100% sure on the quality. I might go back to using my old mic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment below. All feedback, good or otherwise, is always appreciated. If you have any creepy stories of your own, or have any topics that you would like me to cover, feel free to send them in via any of my social media. You can find all the links to my social media in the description below. I want to tell you guys about this website that a Bella viewer has created. They have created a website dedicated to myself and Busta. Thank you so much for all your support. It means a lot to me. I love what this viewer wrote about my channel on the website. It really does mean so much to me. And to be there with Busta too, I must be doing something right. I really do mean it when I say that all your support means the world to me. I know I'm still a relatively small channel, but I've already gained so much more support and amazing subscribers than I ever thought I would. So, I've been thinking about doing a Q&A video. If you have any questions that you would like to ask me, comment them below or you can send them in via any of my social media. You can find all links to my social media in the description below. Okay guys, I think I've rambled on long enough. Until next time guys, make sure you lock your doors, stay safe, and I'll see you next video.